Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm just following up now the trend of motherboard videos, but I wanted to talk about this one here because I think it's relevant today in 2023, more relevant since the AM5 platform has come into the picture now. But if you've noticed, those motherboards are expensive. This chipset is still expensive for even an entry level motherboard or whatever, or chipset. But there's still hope. This one here is the cheapest B650 motherboard that I have found on the internet. I paid 130 or around 130 bucks for this thing in the country where I live. And according to ASROCK, it's a 6+1+1 power phase DR MOS setup. Supports up to 120 watt CPU. If you noticed, we have 60 watt TDP CPUs. We also have 105 TDP CPUs. So they theoretically should work just fine. But for us that like to overclock, this will come into question. This will come into play big time, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, where I actually slap a 7700 into this thing here. Supports up to 6400 mega transfers per second memory. We'll see about that. However, there's a good thing about this chip, this little motherboard here, and let's go over that here real quick. And we'll do an unboxing and kind of view it, but this is a pretty good shot. So you get 5 gen NVMe on this slot here, and 4th gen on this one here. Really nice, if you ask me. So yeah, that's great. And you get your ARGB connector here. At least this little board for 130 bucks comes with the stuff that you need. The only bummer is that it does not have heat sinks on the M.2 slots, but you can buy something separate if you wish to do so. Also, it does not come with post LED lights, which it's a bummer. Again, you kind of need this if you're going to be doing any overclocking of any kind or just troubleshooting. Also, it does not have a front panel type C connector anywhere on the board. So those are a few things to consider. So let's go ahead and just open up the board and take a closer look at the MOSFETs and the controller to see if this could be something worthwhile, spending your hard-earned money on. All right, guys, so here we got the motherboard. Let's go ahead and open this thing up. And we're greeted firstly with the back plate, the I/O plate, and it is cushioned, which is really nice. So yeah, we get 2 SATA cables, one at a 90 degree, M.2 screws. Get the manual. All right. Get this thing out of the box here. Okay, so I don't want all that noise, so here we go. All right, so here's the little board. I already talked about the the main features, really, that stand out to me at least. But here it is. You got your 8-pin connector here. Like I said, you don't have there's a lot of features that are missing from this entry-level board, but that's okay. If you just want to get into AM5, this is a good start here, this board, in my opinion. So yeah, you got your 2 slots for memory here. This supports up to 96 gigabytes. okay, with two DIMMs installed. Two fan headers here at the very top, another fan header here, and you got another fan header down here. So that's a total of 4 fan headers. Also, look at the chipset cooling. It's not the biggest, but then again, you know, for this level of power consumption, you don't really need something bigger than that. You got 4 SATA ports here at a 90-degree angle. You got your front panel connectors here. Okay, USB 2.0, your ARGB down here, sound, and you got your sound Realtek down here as well. So yeah, this is your chips there, and you got a nice little Wi-Fi card there, slot if you want to have wireless hookup to this. So yeah, the heatsink on the VRM, it's a little anemic, if that's what you want to, you know, call it. But yeah, we might not need that to be bigger than that. You got DisplayPort, HDMI, 2 USB 2.0. You got your BIOS flashback button here. Type C connector on the back of the board, or IO shield or IO plate, whatever. USB 3.2, USB 3.1 here, or I have to double check, but I believe these are 3.1, I'm not sure. And your 2.5 gigabit LAN, plus your audio out down here at the bottom. So, okay. Now let's go ahead and take this heatsink off and take a look at the MOSFETs used for the CPU, okay? All right, let's get into that. Figured out that this is the controller that is on the motherboard. This is made by Rich Tech. It is a triple channel PWM controller. Not bad quality at all. Also, the MOSFETs for the VRM, they are made by Vishay. They are the SIC634 MOSFETs, and these are 50 amp phases, so not bad at all. I'm glad that ASROCK did not cheap out on the power delivery here, because 50 amps is plenty of juice for even the 7950X. But if you're overclocking, that 120 watt support may come into question there. But other than that, yeah, these are decent MOSFETs that they're using, the ASROCK is using, and good quality controller by Rich Tech here. So, alrighty. Alright, this is what the board looks like once you take the heatsink off, and that's your PWM controller there. Again, like I said, this is made by Rich Tech, as you can see. And here are your MOSFETs, Vishay MOSFETs, 50 amps. So we got a 50 amp phase here, very nice. I'm happy to hear that, because that'll be plenty of juice, plenty of power for this little motherboard. So now let's get into the BIOS and go through a brief, just kind of like a quick sweep of the features and what it looks like in there, okay? Alright guys, so now we're diving into the BIOS. Here we are at the main screen, and little information here, but that's okay. When you get to PBO, you will get all these settings here. So auto, enable PBO, or ASROCK has implemented this thing where the curve optimizer, it's all integrated into, you know, different settings here. For example, you can go with PBO plus TGM max equals 85 Celsius and curve optimizer minus 20 millivolts or 30 millivolts or 40 millivolts. My CPU can handle up to 40 millivolts at 85C. So that's the setting that I chose. This is not like MSI and ASROCK where you can set the curve optimizer and the AMD overclocking settings and whatnot. This is different, so it's already preset for you. I don't know how I feel about this, but it works. I mean, it does what you would expect, so that's for that. You can still overclock, but it doesn't have a the way the ASRock has implemented this is that you have to, for example, do this, and you have to type in the exact overclock. So from 3800 to 5.6 if you want to do that. So you have to actually type 5600. You don't get the multiplier option. So it's kind of it's a little different. I want to say it's not bad, it's just different. Memory, however, on the other hand, this thing had no problem loading XMP or Expo to 6000 with the advertised clocks. I went ahead and I did my own thing. I did my own set, timings to boost this because I want to get better performance out of it. And I didn't have to touch the voltage or anything like that. It just worked. So as you can see, 1.35. Any advanced settings, you have your AMD overclocking options. And like I said, if you go like even manual overclocking, you still have to put the frequency, like the 4 digits, 5600, and the voltage. If you go to PBO here, you can enable it, but it doesn't give you any other options like curve optimizer where you can do it manually. It doesn't have that, which I don't know how to feel about that, but it doesn't. It's not a reason to say that the board is bad. It's just a different setup. Here's the fan monitoring options here. So right off the bat, as soon as you switch to the tab, it'll bring you to the window where you see the temperatures, your CPU, motherboard, your currently set or using fans, and also the pump. Like for example, right here, pump speed. If you go up, you can see it here. Okay, and you can set everything up in one window. You don't have to go through clicking this to get to that. It's just all in one window. It's just one tab, and you can set up your fan curves and all that other stuff. You have options for full performance. You can customize it. You can go manual. So that's pretty neat. I like that. And then just the average stuff. Nothing major here. So the BIOS is pretty intuitive, very easy to use, especially for those just starting to overclock. Yeah, it's pretty friendly. I have to say that it's pretty friendly, pretty easy to use. Now it does lack the advanced, overclocking feel to it. For those of us who do advanced overclocking or want to push the limits. This is not a board designed for that. Like I said, this is I don't want to say it's a budget because there's nothing budget about $130 for a motherboard, especially in 2023. I mean, you can argue with that, but $130 is $130. So, I would say this is more like an entry-level B650, and it's great for, what you pay. Everything worked perfectly right out of the box. Sorry, that's the graphics card they're booting, but everything worked perfectly right out of the box. My CPU, RAM, there was no hiccups. It does take a little long to boot at first because it has to go through the cycle of detecting your memory, detecting your CPU, GPU, and all that other stuff. So you'll be looking at maybe 30 seconds to a minute for the whole booting process the first time you boot, for that to complete. But after that, it's just like you saw right now. It just boots right up. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that I was wrong about one thing. I was wrong about the LED lights. It does have post LED lights. They're located at the bottom of the motherboard, and they're all one color, red. So you will have to you will have to remember, you have to memorize what each red light is. So yeah, that's kind of like a bomber there. Let me get this out of the window because it's kind of not working there. But anyway, that's all I have to say for this this little ASROCK B650 motherboard. Is for me, it's well worth the money, well worth the price. No hiccups. It works perfectly as you would expect from even a higher end motherboard. I didn't have any issues. I want to mention this. I didn't have any issues with the CPU overclocking or boosting or anything like that. It was hovering around 120 watts and, you know, whatever. But no throttling, nothing like that. It just works. So great little motherboard. I would highly recommend this for a 7600, 7700, 7900 CPU, all with the 65 TDP. So yeah, great board. Even I will go as far as going with the 7600X or 7700X, and especially a 7800X 3D. Although if you're buying an expensive CPU like that, then I don't know why you would, you know, you wouldn't expend a little extra more money for a better featured board. But you can use it on this, especially since the 7800X3 is so power efficient and uses very little power, 50, 60 watts at full load. Incredible. But anyway, I'm gonna leave the video here, guys. This was just a quick unboxing and review of the ASROCK B650M H motherboard. Great little board if you can find it for the right price. Highly recommend it if you want to get into B650 and you're looking for something that is affordable yet not crap. So I'll leave it as that. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next one.